While we like to think of history as facts in black and white, the real story is often more complicated. A pair of Georgia natives, Kenyon Drake of the Dolphins and Dalvin Tomlinson of the Giants, explored a moment that may have faded over time, but its impact remains extraordinary. Kenyon, Dalvin, we're on an important part of Atlanta history right now on Auburn Avenue. I want to introduce you to somebody who's very important to the city of Atlanta as far as being an historian here. This is Sergeant Tanya Austin, the Atlanta Police Department, Dalvin Tomlinson, Kenyon Drake. And we are here because, as you guys growing up in Atlanta know, this used to be the power center of Atlanta. Great things happen here. A historical building right here as far as life insurance. The first black newspapers down here. James Brown got his start down the road. But there was something that didn't happen here for a long time. When all this stuff was happening, it was the police department. Can you talk about that, Tanya, and why this is so important?
Sure, I can. These men here were the first 8 African-American officers. This was the beginning of diversity for the Atlanta Police Department. Residents of that area and that community were fearful of the Atlanta Police Department because primarily they were made up of Klansmen during that time. So there was this mindset that our communities deserve justice like other communities.
Things began to change in 1946, when a landmark Supreme Court ruling outlawed all white primaries. This created a massive voter registration drive in Atlanta, and the Auburn Avenue clergy made the most of the opportunity.
The clergy and the head of the churches came together with the community and said we're going to give them 20,000 black votes to get police officers in our community that we want. The politicians accepted it because they knew they needed the black community to win the race. So the community on Auburn Ave got those police officers to patrol their streets for them.
People in the community were so excited about this that a parade broke out, impromptu, on that moment. And can you talk about just what happened and what led to that?
April 3rd, 1948, they patrolled Auburn Avenue. People lined the street so that their children could witness African-American men wearing the patch that they had never seen black men wear. So it was a moment of great pride. Some of them described it as disbelief.
This went on for a while because the people couldn't get used to the idea of seeing the black police officer in uniform walking the beat.
It was a very tense time in politics, and desegregation was just not something that was embraced. And so they contended with that when they came to work every day.
There was still a lot of backlash and racism in the time.
Black men were boys and Negroes and the other N-word.
They were chastised by their colleagues. The white officers would taunt black officers because they didn't want to see them with the power that they had. So for that reason, they were given a separate precinct, which was makeshift. It was the Butler Street YMCA, and they made a precinct in the basement of this building. They were not allowed to leave with their uniforms or their equipment. They had to leave it here, and they could not arrest any citizen that was not African American.
You know, my grandparents talked about the struggle and what it took for them, the sacrifice they made for my parents to be here, and you know, your parents do the same thing, and then all you want to do is continue that process.
If you want something great to happen, it's going to take time.
Yeah, it's never going to happen when you see it. It's always, you got to make things happen for the next generation.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for coming. We are the Art Force 5 from Alfred, New York. We travel around the country building art to help communities see things that they might not see, to help bring people together.
As millions of people descended upon Atlanta for Super Bowl 53, Alfred University's Art Force 5 came for a different reason. An art project that pays tribute to the city's original 8 African-American police officers.
The YMCA where these officers were stationed is now dilapidated, boarded up. So these pieces will go over the boarded windows as a beautification project.
And we're going to involve the whole community. We're going to involve the police, we're going to involve youth, and we're going to involve NFL players.
How important is this to be able to build that relationship with the community and the police?
This is where relationships come from. If I could help him in any kind of way, whatever may be going on in his community, and if he can reach out to me or to someone else, one of the other officers, and exchange and dialogue. It helps both of us.
Yeah. Let me ask you, does it help that you're able to sit down and talk to a police officer in here and talk about your life and what he goes through?
There's always going to be calls.
Does it make you want to be friends?
And I feel it got me. It got me.
When you have events like this, it's just let you see, everybody see the different sides of each other, and then like you have that comfort feeling in the community like it's supposed to be.
What's your name? Kenya, nice to meet you. To personally meet family members that were direct descendants of the first 8 was definitely very impactful.
So how much pride do you guys take in knowing that somebody in your family was part of this first police force in Atlanta?
You know, he paved the way for us to work hard and follow in his legacy.
He was a noble man. He was our hero.
Right.
And we looked up to him, and he led by example.
When you see somebody that looks like you from generations before that paved the way for you and the struggle that they went through for you to be where you are today, that definitely means a lot to me.
We live in a world we celebrate the big moments and the big people. The people get all the headlines. We forget like some of the biggest heroes, are the people who every day go out and make sacrifice. The more people do what your grandfather did, the better the world becomes. The mural's journey down Auburn Avenue honors the original 8 officers and offers a chance to reflect on the road the entire community has traveled.
These are our heroes, these officers who went out there and decided to be police in a time of extreme segregation, extreme racism.
Something like this will definitely influence change. It will make people recognize the past so we could make a better future.
The children that witnessed that and took part in painting this can always drive by this building and think about the contribution they have given back to those officers, thanking them for the service they gave the city.
For me to have this opportunity, it really means a lot because now I can tell my family and my kids that I was able to have a small part in such a big moment in the history of Atlanta, the history of my people, and the history of this country.